Hey, what's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about these 3 friendship tips that everyone overhypes. You've likely heard these things time and time again, but they don't work. And it leads to a very harmful pattern where you're trying the same things over and over and over again. Let's make a new possibility. Are you ready? Let's go. Now, when I was searching for meaningful relationships or trying to figure this out, I'm looking around and I'm looking at advice that people say, get out there, be yourself. You've heard this before and you still get rejected. Ouch, that hurts. It hurts. And they say, well, it really works. Just be authentic. Yeah. Okay. But there are little pieces to it that we don't necessarily get understanding of until we have these experiences where we're being authentic, we're out there, and we get rejected. And if you have that happen so many times, you want to stop listening to the advice that you get. You want to stop listening to this, just be yourself, just show up, and right? You want to stop doing that, and you might swing the other way. The pendulum will swing the other way where you are just not going to care about what people think. You don't care about how they feel. And then that doesn't work either because people are repelled. And then you might try and figure out the rest of this is my journey. I'm basically describing. You might try to figure out, hey, there's got to be something in between. Maybe there's something I could do. And I hear quite often the something that's in between is to do one of these 3 things. These 3 things. The first thing is always be available. You always want to be available for your friends. You want to show up for them because you want them to be available for you, right? That's one of the things that I heard. And this falls along with underneath this people-pleasing umbrella, and it's really bad advice. It's really bad advice because when you think about it, we humans, I think this is a human thing. We always want what we can't have. It's wild. But we do. We want a friendship with you, but if you're too available, that means you are going to have too much attention focused on me, and now I'm responsible for you. I want to chase just a little bit. A lot of people think that way. I want to chase just a little bit. Or at the very least, I don't want things to be too easily, too accessible. There was a video that I watched on TikTok some time ago about someone giving away a gold brick, and people were like, no thank you. It was like a little gold thing, but people were like, no thank you, because they really couldn't see the value in it because they were giving it away. This thing is supposed to be valuable. It's worth something, and when things are worth something, people guard that. Right? So if your time isn't worth anything, you're constantly giving it out to other people, you're always available, people are going to be repelled by that. So that's bad advice. Number 1, don't always be available. Have something else to do, and it's not out of spite. It's just because you value your time. Number 2, go out and find common hobbies or interests. Okay, now this is definitely one of the things that I tell my clients to do. Find a hobby, find a common hobby, find a common interest. But that's just the beginning. Really, it is just the beginning. You go out and you find a common hobby or something you like to do, and you have to be able to make the conversation more about something that's important to you other than the hobby. You have to be able to move the conversation in a different direction. So what people do is they'll go out and they say, you know what, I really like to go out and I like to skateboard. Go skateboarding, and you go to a skate park and you do skateboarding, you do some tricks, and you're silent, you're quiet. You don't say anything. You don't say anything other than cool trick, that was neat, or whatever. Or you go to, maybe you decide that you want to go bowling. You enjoy bowling, you want to go bowling, you try and join a league, but you don't really open up and talk to people. And so the problem with this is there's more to than just going out and finding a common hobby or a common interest. There's more to it. It's a starting point. And a lot of people get to this and they're like, this is the end all be all. Just join a club. Just join a group. Well, I did that myself. I joined a group and I was with them for several years. And I still really didn't get to know people really personally and create those deep connections that I was looking for. Sure, we had something in common. We did. But that's the only thing we had in common. And people get frustrated with the fact that that's the only thing that you'll ever have in common. It's because there's something missing. You have to be able to move the conversation toward something else that's important to you. And a lot of people, we just don't know how to do that because we've been rejected so much. We're afraid to open up a little more because we don't want to lose this one connection that we have right now, so we don't mess it up. So number 2 is find common hobbies or interests. There's more to it than just doing that. The third one is keeping conversations light and fun. A lot of people say you just if you want to make friends, keep the conversation fun. Don't talk about the doom and gloom. Don't talk about the real heavy things. I'm with this to a point. Because it's important not to talk about the doom and gloom, because a lot of people are dismayed by that. You're going to connect in this icky kind of feeling where you're really angry and raging at people. Like people like to rage together, and that brings you together. But what happens if you want to feel something else? You want to feel happiness, and then your friend or this person that you connected can't hear it. But we're talking about keeping conversations light and fun. And when we talk about keeping things light and fun, it's associated with fakeness. Like, I gotta be fake. That's what people think. I gotta be fake. I gotta put a big smile on my face. I gotta think everything's positive. I can't share my authentic opinion with some people, and that hurts your chances of creating a real relationship with people, because there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be good and bad. There's going to be fun and not fun. There's going to be interesting and not interesting in your relationship as a whole. So people will think, well, I have to present myself as somebody who's fun all the time and keep the conversations light. I say no to that. No to that. There are things that are fun that are also important to you. There are things that are fun and interesting and exciting to you that are also important to you. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom, but it's a little heavier than, oh, the weather is nice today. It's January and it's like 40 degrees in the Midwest. The wind is blowing. It feels so great. That's light conversation. That's fun. I feel happy about that. That'll just bore somebody to tears. They don't really get to know you when you do that. So this idea of keeping your conversations fun and light is another thing I want to throw out to you. Those 3 friendship tips, I'm going to throw these out. Always be available, find common interests, and keep conversations light and fun. There's a little more to each one of those. So I'm going to share with you a bonus. This is the number one thing that people just don't talk about. This is what I talk about, right? If you want meaningful, deep connections and real conversations with other people, you have to be able to talk about something that's important to you. And you've heard me say this throughout this podcast, right? You've heard me say this. It has to be important and interesting to you. So what I want you to do, I'm going to give you an actionable step, because if you're going out there and you're making connections, what I want you to do is be brave enough to ask a meaningful, personal question. And when you do this, what it's going to do instantly is going to help you move past that small, shallow talk. The shallow, small talk, you can move right past it because you're talking about something that's deep and meaningful to you, right? You're asking them. And then what it's also going to do is signal that the other person that you're open to deeper conversations and deeper connections. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to consider or think or hope that they are. You actually get to show up and try it. And then it also reveals that if they are seeking meaningful friendships. Because if they're not seeking the kind of conversation you're presenting to them today, then that's a good indication of what kind of relationship they want from you, right? And it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to chase after that person and try to change them to be the person who's going to listen to you talk about deep, meaningful things. You want to try and pry them open. And I don't recommend that you do that. I don't recommend that you do that. You get to see people for who they are when you ask something that's meaningful to you, meaningful to them. Ask them about it and watch how they respond. So that's something that's actionable, that's really going to help you deal with these 3 friendship tips that you've heard before. Get rid of them. Don't always be available. Don't worry about always finding common hobbies, interests, because there's more to it than that. And then keep conversations light and fun. We don't want to do that either. We're asking meaningful, personal questions. Just one. Don't get all in their business. Just one, to see whether or not they want to go on that journey with you. So now let me ask you, this is the question of the week. Have you ever asked someone what you thought was a personal question that's meant to get you closer? What happened? What happened? Did they react poorly? Did it bring you closer together? And then also for you on the other side of it, did somebody ask you a personal question that just felt like it was way too much or it was just right and you ended up deep in your relationships? Let me know in the comments, or you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam, I want to thank you so much for all of your positive feedback for the Supportive Connections course. The outpouring is just ridiculous. If you haven't heard about this, I dropped it a couple of months ago on my website, patternsofpossibility.com. Just click resources to get instant access to the free Supportive Connections course. You're going to learn exactly what you need to create healthy, supportive relationships. Because a lot of us, if you grew up in a household which you didn't see healthy connections, you were trying to figure it out all by yourself, you might not know what it looks like to be in a healthy relationship. This is for you if you find it difficult to communicate your own needs, or you feel like you always have unmet expectations in your relationships. If you struggle to recognize toxic behaviors, or you keep tolerating disrespect, manipulation, or control, this is for you. And it's free. Go to patternsofpossibility.com, click on resources, and get instant access to this free Supportive Connections course today. Now let's do the listener letters. If you have a question about your family, friends, business, coworkers, anything that goes on with your relationships, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. All right, let's get into it. A flaky friend ghosted me 3 times in a row after making plans. I lashed out, so he blocked me. I don't know if I did the right thing or if I overreacted, but a friend who's 29 and I'm 31 has had a pretty demanding job, and I understand that, but he insisted we hang out this week, so I said okay. He ghosted me the first time, then contacted me hours later and told me he was sleeping after work with no apology. And then I said, don't worry, let's make it another time then. And he said, no, let's do it tomorrow. I accepted. Same thing happened again. He ignored me and contacted me hours later just to say he had the work. He said, let's do it tomorrow. I said, fine. Then he did it a third time because he was exhausted and not feeling well. Now this time, I was really pissed. I told him, why didn't you contact me earlier to cancel? I was very angry and I said hurtful things, which I kind of regret now. I said, I have better friends who value my time and would never ghost me. When you grow up and become an adult who knows how to treat each other with respect, then hit me up. And then he blocked me without a word. I don't know whether I was right to stand up for myself or if I'm a horrible, selfish friend. I really feel bad for losing him because we are both introverts. We don't have many friends and we share a lot of interests and good memories together. I don't know what to do now. Should I just move on and forget about it, or try reaching out to see if I can fix things? I truly hate how things between us ended. Wow, this is something. You're both like around 30-ish years old, 29 and 31. You've known each other for some time. You didn't specify how long, but you've had some memories together. Um, Initially, I'm thinking, get rid of him. Just, um, this is what happens when people aren't able to articulate what they are really feeling, or if they're really concerned with how other people are feeling. Like, I'm looking at your friend and I'm thinking, hey, you wanted this and you stood me up. You don't understand how that makes me feel, or how I'm impacted by your behavior. You don't get it. You don't get that. I'm mad at your friend. Just as an outsider looking in, I'm mad at your friend. I'm like, hey, that was really rude. That was really rude. And no accountability, no responsibility for that. And then on your side, I'm looking at you, the person who wrote this. I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, like, how can you go along with it? Nah, I'm trying to blame you. Apparently, I'm trying to blame you. But one of the things that, just stepping back and like, well, what happened that stopped you from expressing your disappointment sooner rather than later? I don't know if you did that because it's not written here, but sooner rather than later, like, hey, all right, the first time, are you sure you up for this? Because this really upset me. I'm not kidding you. You didn't apologize to me. This upset me. I can't move forward. I'm not going to pretend like this didn't happen. I get that you have to work, but you also have a responsibility to me as a friend to say, as a cherished friend, to say what's going on with you. If you can really do it. If you're really thinking about disappointing and upsetting me, too late, you already have. That's what I would tell the person who didn't show up, the workaholic person. We'll just call him workaholic for now because that's where he is. But I would tell him, hey, this upset me. This hurt me. I was hurt by this. I need you to acknowledge that. So I'm looking at this because I'm an outsider looking in. I don't have all the intense feelings that you have right now. I don't have all those intense feelings, so I'm able to take this space. And one of the questions that you ask, is, you don't know what you should do. Should you move on and forget about it, or should you try reaching out to fix things? And what I would recommend is give it some time to breathe. You are intensely emotional right now, and your friend is exhausted from work or something. There's something going on. They're working a whole lot. They can't get their stuff together. They can't even speak to you and say anything to you. So I imagine that if you tried to open up a conversation with them today, tomorrow, or maybe even next week, they were going to be so inundated with their own feelings from work, they're not going to have the capacity to handle your situation. They're not going to have the capacity to say anything to you because they haven't been. So you asked also if you didn't ask if you're a horrible, selfish friend, but I want to say that you're not. This is what happens when we're not able to say our feelings in a nice, clean, clear, and concise manner when they pop up. We kind of bury them, and we kind of trying to push things aside, give people the benefit of the doubt, and we push that down. The next thing you know, boom, we explode on them. This is how I'm really feeling on the inside, and I can't keep it together. I want you to know how much I'm hurting because of what you've done. And you can't say it kindly because you're hurt. So what I recommend, again, that you do is not look at yourself as a horrible, selfish friend. That stuff comes out, okay? That comes out when it does. What I recommend you do is go sort through it, go sift through it, go sit down with it, be with those feelings, and be kind to yourself in this process. Be with those feelings of being angry and frustrated with your friend, and sit with those feelings, and then decide how are you going to communicate that to your friend. There's nothing that can't be fixed here. It's just communication. And if you go back into this friendship trying to communicate with all the anger and the chip on your shoulder, and they meet you with exhaustion and frustration from something that does nothing, that has nothing to do with you, your friendship is going to hit another wall. You're going to hit another experience. You're going to have another experience where you're fighting and you're arguing with each other. So you just want to be careful when you do that kind of thing. All right, so let's wrap it up right here. And finally, I appreciate you being a listener. If you got something of value out of this podcast, please share it with other people and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening app. We'll see you next time. Take care.